All right, so this is a basic Rec 709 conversion. Now I shot this on the Black Magic in it was a raw B-raw, so this is just basically me converting what my camera saw on that day to something that looks like a standard, the Rec 709 standard. Now you can see, like I was saying earlier, this image looks very yellowish. It looks very yellowish because the lighting in the place, they use these tungsten bulbs which are yellow and warm in color. And now for me, for almost every grid that I do, the first thing I like to do is to clean up the image, is to clean it up. If we have any noise, I want to get rid of all those noise. So if I just zoom into this, you can see those tiny blocks, those color, uh, those tiny noise elements. Now I really don't like this. So my first node in the node tree here is supposed to clean up all that noise. So moving on to my next node, I will get to this node why I have this here. Now this is the offset wheel, the offset node. Now let me turn this off and we go into the scopes and see what's happening here. Now this, as a colorist, this is very important for you. You need to understand what's happening here and how this data here translates into your image. Now when we look into this image, you can see that this isn't balanced here. Like, see where our reds are on the scope, see where our greens are, see where our blues are. So you can see that we need to balance this out. Like, they need to be somehow even. We need our blacks to look black and we need our whites to look white. So that's basically what this node is doing here. When I turn it on, you can see that it's basically trying to level all the different channels we have in here, the red, the green, and the blues. So that's exactly what it's doing. Now, for you to achieve this, you can basically use the offset wheel. Now, the offset wheel, basically, this is currently at 724. If I move this up, you can see I'm shifting it up. It just means that looking at this image, you can see that the image has lots of red. So directly that will translate to what? Lots of reds in the scope. Does that make sense? So if I need to fix this red color cast, I will need to do what? To bring this down. I'll need to bring this down. Can you see that? See, as I'm bringing this down, you can see that our image is starting to look reasonable. So I move this back to where it was, 17.24. Now you can see that his skin tones are looking quite okay. Like, at the heart of every good color grade, we need our skin tones to look perfect. Like, we need the skin tones to look correct and accurate. So in this image, he's the most prominent thing in this image. So that's the first thing I'll look at. His skin tones look pretty okay. The others in the shot too look very okay. I think I'm okay with this. And so far, I think from the scopes, we have a very good starting point for a grade. This is basically just Rec 709. This first node is just taking away that color cast that we had from the tungsten bulbs. Now moving on, I have this node called the primaries. Now this is where it starts doing like adjustments to the image. Now we aren't actually doing any heavy color grade. This is us trying to maybe do we want to boost shadows? Do we want to brighten up the image? Do we want to add more details? So those are just basic primary things that you can do. Do you get? So yeah, when I enable this, you can see that it's kind of like we just breathed a little air into our image. Like you can see from the scopes, when I turn this, we are kind of stretching the image. Do you get? So when you add brightness, you are basically stretching the image. When you add contrast, when you do all that stuff. Now, when you come, the changes I made here, I boosted my contrast because I wanted a very contrasty look in this grade. I want to make this look like it was a movie, it was a film. Do you get? So yeah, I kind of boosted my contrast all the way to 1.2. 1.2 because I want it contrasty. And then now this is where it gets interesting. So I just turned off my noise reduction because if it's on, my system can't play the footage smoothly. So I'm just going to play this through. And then yeah, as you can see, he walks into the frame and then he tries to take a look at the image. this is one of the epic shots that I was able to do. I mean, it was kind of like a tracking shot. So this is like very close in here, and then it moves to a medium close up. I mean, it's wide, but then this isn't exactly wide. It is like a medium close up. So yeah, this was one of the epic shots I did there. And already I can see that the greens are kind of distracting. I mean, this is exactly what we saw that day. Like, this is a corrected image. This is exactly what the experience was. But then the greens are too loud. If I'm looking at this image, it's just a lot for me to process. We need a way to focus the user's attention on what's very important in this image. Does that make sense? So the first thing I kind of did was something related to blues, but then we'll skip this. I want to talk about the greens for now. So when I enable this node, you can see that what it kind of mutes the greens. Does that make sense? So this is a more clearer picture. Like when I look at this image, my the first impression I get is what? There is someone in the picture that's looking at an art piece. Does that make sense? So if I turned off this node, you can see that the greens were too loud. Now when I turn it on, you can see that we've muted all the greens. And that's basically what? Me just qualifying the green. So I came into this hue versus sat panel in DaVinci. Now, hue versus sat just means what you are trying. Hue means color in film. If you hear hue, it means we are referring to colors. Now, when we talk about hue versus sat, it just means what? The saturation of a certain color. So we are comparing the saturation of colors. Now you can basically just pinpoint any color. You make sure that you have a very good selection and a range of colors within that color that you want to work on. And then if you pull it down, it will reduce the saturation. If you pull it up, it would increase the saturation. Now you can see here. Now that's not a good effect because in my highlights, I don't want any unnecessary colors there. So I can just pack this somewhere here. And if I go into my full screen mode, you can see that what? Yeah, I mean, we have some color noise, but I can live with that. I mean, I just didn't want the greens to be too loud here. I mean, this looks okay. I like this muted um green. I mean, if someone was watching this, they won't even know that it was initially green. And that's one of the things I love about Blackmagic. Like, you can grade the crap out of this camera, and I mean, you will just be able to survive it. So yeah, I muted the greens, and then one more thing, the blues that I skipped. I just felt like this blue here is so distracting. Like someone is watching this and their mind goes like, "Oh, what's that? Like, is it that important? Like, what's is it a place? What's happening there?" So I didn't want that, so I muted that as well. So I same thing. I came into my hue versus saturation tab in DaVinci. I qualified that and made sure I had a very good selection. Now, another thing, you don't want to have this very tight here. We want this spread out so that it's kind of it smoothens out. Do you get? Because if we talk about blue, we can have shades of blue, and it's not exactly like just one uh, saturated blue. So yeah, I muted those blues, and taking a look at this image, this is just like a masterpiece. Yeah. Now this is just me trying to sharpen the image, but then this was like the last thing I always do, like trying to sharpen and bring back some detail into my shots. And then here, so this is basically just a color space transform. So what a color space transform basically means is that we are transforming what our camera saw that day. Our camera shoots in B-RAW. That's the Blackmagic Pocket 4K camera. It shoots in B-RAW, which is a log format. And then we want to, so I keep saying B-RAW. So this is what B-RAW looks like. This is just what? A bunch of data, and we can't really make any sense out of this image. It doesn't look nice. It doesn't look like something you can present. You need to convert this into a format that our display can show and what everybody knows, which is the Rec 709 Gamma 2.4. So that's what I'm basically doing here. So DaVinci Wide, Gamma, DaVinci Intermediate, and then I'm transforming this into Rec 709 Gamma 2.4. So when I turn on my color grade, this is just a basic Rec 709. I mean, you can publish, you can just end your work here if that's you. You can just pack it here and we are gone. This looks more than okay to me. And then now this is where it gets interesting. I initially mentioned that I wanted a filmic look. Now, when you download DaVinci free version or the studio version, you have free looks that DaVinci ships to you. Now, the thing with this film looks is that they are made for a certain type of film stock. Now, what most colorists do or what most people do that they don't really like to use this, or it's just because they don't know how to use it. Now, if you need to use this thing, you can just go and apply it directly on our Rec 709 conversion like this. You can see that it's doing a lot, and this image doesn't look good. It's crashing a whole lot of things, and this image looks just way too out of view. You get. Now, the way we fix this is, now you need to understand that this look lots here, this film looks are made for a Cineon film log film stock. Does that make sense? So you need to tell DaVinci, you need to change this output gamma into Cineon film log. Now, yeah, it almost looks like it's a log, as if the video is in log again. Now we've already done our corrections. So all we need DaVinci to do is what? Is to take our video and apply a film stock on it. Now, I changed my gamma 2.4 to film log, and then what? I applied a Kodak D55. This is the warm, like this is kind of like in the mid warm. Then this is cool. So I want that warm filmic look. So as you can see, I apply this. It's the same lot, and then we have this image. This is just amazing. This is like a film. It looks like a film. Do you get? Now this is the part where, I mean, it's very option. It's not really necessary. You can just pack your color grading here and end of business. We're done. You can turn off your computer now. You can close YouTube. You can close wherever you're watching this video. You can just log out now. But then, yeah, this is the extra step that it's not really necessary. But then just to give me that inch, I mean, so this is just a lot that's made for Rec 709 to give me that filmic, you know, that feel. So this lot basically adds that feel to my footage. See what it does to the skin tones. Very nice. Very nice. I like this. Now, when you look into the scopes, you can see that what our black level is like aligned. Like you can see, we have clean blacks. Everything is just leveled up, and nothing is really clipping here. Now, when I push, like come here, you can see that we have this light at the top here. I mean, like I said, you can pack this image here, but then me and knowing that I like to make things perfect and shit, I'll just go one extra step. So I'm adding a node just before my noise reduction, and DaVinci is amazing. I mean, look at what we're going to do. Now I'm going to take my highlights and start to dial them back in. Ooh, just look at that. Just look at that. I don't want to do it too much. I want to pack this somewhere. I think this is nice. Let's see that. Let's play that back. Let's play that. Okay, I might want to bring back some of that. Might want to bring back some of that. Whew. Okay, let me just take it up a notch. Like, let's park it on 20 here. This looks okay for me. Just look at this beauty. This is amazing. Ooh. Just walking our way back, I'm going to turn off this green, turn off my blues, and you can see this image is just out of proportion. We don't even know where the focus should be in this image. And as a colorist, you need to direct your viewers' attention to where they should be looking. So if they made a bad decision during the production of this video by making the walls green, or maybe it wasn't just in their control to fix this green. I mean, you have to fix it in post. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. So my blues, muting my blues and muting my greens. We have a very filmic look. Oh, watch this beauty. Watch this beauty. Watch this beauty. Watch this beauty. I like this. I like this.